You know what's incredibly annoying is when you pay over $25,000 towards your student loans and your monthly payment only goes down by $57. So this topic's going to be a bit controversial because I know there's very passionate opinions about this topic because money is involved and people get very fired up about money. But I want to talk about it. Something I've learned, or it's finally sinking in lately, is that you do not have to be debt free to become financially independent. If you guys are new here, hello, my name is Rachel. I have 6 figures of student loan debt. I have knocked out 6 figures of debt over the last 5 years, and I am working my way through the rest of it. So to add some context to this story, back in 2020, when student loans went into forbearance, I started saving up for them instead of paying on them. And I continued that through 2021 as well. And by the end of 2021, I had about $28,000 saved up. And in December of 2021, we thought that the student loan forbearance was supposed to be ending come the start of 2022. So I thought a fun Vlogmas idea for December of 2021 would be to do 12 days of debt payments when I would pay that huge chunk of money I had saved up towards my student loans in preparation for the forbearance ending. So I paid $25,200 on my student loans throughout December of 2021. And then we heard that the forbearance was going to be extended. So I stopped paying and throughout 2022 continued to save more money. So at this point in time, I have just over $28,000 saved up again that I was planning to drop on my student loans once this forbearance ends, supposedly this year in 2023. That being said, something I have learned very recently that it took me far too long to learn is that debt freedom and financial independence do not have to go hand in hand. It is possible and it is okay to reach financial independence without being debt free. Now, back in 2018, when I started my last job, it was a high paying job that I was incredibly excited about, strictly because I was going to be able to finally get ahead with my student loans. So my whole existence over the last 5 years has been student loans and getting student loans out of my life. I want financial independence so badly, but in my mind, step 1 out of getting financially fit was becoming totally debt free. So 2018, I paid off all credit cards, my used car loan, any consumer debt that I had that wasn't student loans. And then I started focusing on student loans. And of course, they are my lowest APR debt, so they have always been my last priority. So that brings us to today. I continued saving for student loans all of 2022. I have over $28,000 saved up, and I've been saving that. And I'm waiting for the forbearance to end because I've been wanting to drop that money on the student loans. But the thing that always sticks in the back of my mind is back to December of 2021 when I said I had dropped over $25,000 on my student loan balance. I had $185,900.22 of a student loan balance at that time. Dropped that $25,200, dropped my balance down to $160,700.22. Dropping that much money on my student loans brought my monthly payment down from $705.69 to $648.11. That's a difference of $57.58 a month. Over $25,000 only saves me $57 a month. I have a hard time reconciling that in my brain because that's such, to me, a massive amount of money. That is practically what my yearly salary used to be before I got my last job. That's so disheartening that such a large sum of money, like the most I had ever had saved up in my life, only impacted my monthly payments by $57. That's incredibly frustrating for me. I have totally switched game plans. Like, from being debt free, I think is no longer my hardcore focus. it's going to take me, especially now that I've stepped down to a much less paying job, it's going to take me years to pay off the remaining $160,000 that I owe on student loans. Years. And I don't want to miss out on that time when it comes to investing. And if you guys know my story, you know that my investment of choice to get myself to financial independence is real estate. So in my mind, the $28,000 that I have saved at this current moment could be so much more beneficial using that for an investment instead of dumping that on my student loans. Because in theory, that would drop my monthly payment by another roughly $60 because I just did this last year, about the same amount. So in my mind, using the $28,000 I have saved up, and I'm not saying all of it, I don't know as though I'll need all of it, but if I buy another investment property, instead of just dumping that on my student loans, the investment property could have such a bigger impact on my monthly finances. So for me, what I want to do now is buy a house hack. And if you are not familiar with house hacking, that is where you buy a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, and you live in one unit and rent out the other units. And if done correctly, the tenants who live in the other units can completely cover the mortgage payment, so you can live very, very cheap or free in some cases. Again, if done correctly, this does take research, right opportunity, right place. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's not a miracle. And of course, owning a property comes with its own set of expenses. It's not to be jumped in blindly, but that could have a massive impact on my monthly expenses as opposed to dropping that on my student loans and getting about $60 a month back in my pocket. It just makes way more financial sense on the road to financial independence to use the money I have saved on an investment property, or at least some of it. I don't know. And at this point in time, I don't have a property in mind. I'm not even looking right now, but I'm just, in my head, it makes way more sense to focus my finances, my resources, my attention on investing instead of just paying off my debt. Now, before anyone gets a trigger finger in the comments wanting to say something mean, because I always seem to get comments about how stupid millennials are and how irresponsible we were for taking out student loans and how irresponsible it would be for me to take on more debt and buy a property instead of getting rid of the debt that I already have. Please save it. Save it. Okay? Personal finances are personal, and what feels good for me, what works for me, what makes sense for me is not going to make sense for everybody. So please save the comments. I understand it's irresponsible to have 6 figures of debt. But please know, from the start, I've always said I'm fully responsible for my student loans. I take full responsibility for every penny of student loans that I took out, and I absolutely 100% plan on paying them off 100% on my own. I'm not expecting handouts or anyone to help me or save me from my student loans. Never, ever, ever have I ever said that. And I never will. I plan to pay my student loans fully myself, okay? And again, this is a controversial topic, and I know that, but it's just, you do not have to be debt-free to become financially independent, and that is something I've learned very recently. I don't want to say I wished I'd learned it earlier because it really wouldn't have mattered. I did. I'm happy I dropped that lump on my student loans. It's just, I think I needed to do that and see the impact on the monthly payment and how that changes my monthly finances going forward to really understand, like, okay, well, if putting that much money on my loans only gives that much monthly improvement, maybe I need to reassess things. So this is me reassessing things and realizing that there are other things that I can do that can make a drastic improvement in my finances right now. And again, I'm not saying I'm looking for a house at the moment, but in my heart and in my mind, I know that bought correctly, and if I do my research and I play my cards right and even wait a little longer for whatever the economy is going to do, whatever the housing market's going to do, I feel like I can find a good deal if I put my mind to it. And it's going to take time, but if I can use this $28,000 that I have saved up to drastically improve my monthly living expenses, which is, of course, my largest expense. It's most people's largest monthly expense is their living expenses. If I can drastically improve that, then that frees up money month over month going forward to then accelerate paying off my student loans and getting my other financial shit in order. So in my mind, that's what makes sense for me. And I hope that makes sense as I've explained it. I'm not saying it has to be make sense for you in your situation, but I hope you can understand where I'm coming from in my situation. And I'm just putting it out there because so much of what you see about becoming financially independent, step like 1 through 3 is like budgeting, getting rid of your debt, and setting up a monthly savings goal. And budgeting I have on lock. Like, obviously you guys know that I share my monthly budget every single month on my channel, and I've been working on becoming debt free, and I've done amazing with that. I do not carry consumer debt. The only debt I have is my student loans and the one rental property that I currently own that is totally paying for itself. So I don't count that. But all you ever hear about financial independence is no debt. And so I just always have assumed, and it's been ingrained in me, that those things go hand in hand, and you must become debt free in order to become totally financially independent. And that's just not true. So I just wanted to put this out there to help spread the knowledge, because it was very recently that I even found a video that said it was okay to not be debt free if you want to be financially independent. And I think student loans are, in my mind, kind of like the least evil of debt, really, between that and a mortgage that you're living in that's making sense for you. I think those are kind of the two, I don't want to say acceptable debts, but really they're the least offensive and generally the lowest APR. However, mortgage interest rates are not looking great lately, which also factors into my whole game plan as well, of course. But I just don't feel bad about carrying student loan debt and carrying on towards financial independence. I think that makes sense for me. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, just trying to shed a little bit more light on the whole debt-free financial independence situation out there, and they don't have to go hand in hand. Like I said at the beginning, I do have another 6 figures of student loan debt to go, but I'm also gonna be putting financial independence back in the forefront of my focus. So if you are new here, you want to join along, I definitely recommend subscribing, because I share this whole journey every step of the way, and I'll let you know how it goes. Obviously, I'm going to keep you guys updated. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.